Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Retrospective Gaming. In this episode, I will be reviewing Underrail. Alright, no long intro, let's get to the game. Here's my review of Underrail. The story in Underrail starts off with a meeting between Tanner, Vera, and Gorski. Gorski is one of my favorite characters, just wanted to let you know that. Anyways, they're talking about an earthquake and some other things, but the most important thing about this conversation is you. You see, you are a new citizen to the SGS, the Southgate Station, and that's how the story starts off. You have the option to go through the tutorial or skip it. After that, you're in the Southgate Station and you start doing missions. That's how Underrail starts off. The story is very interesting in this game and I really liked it. I liked the characters, I liked the factions, I liked the way everything looks, but when I was playing Underrail, it took a little bit for me to get interested in the game. That was at the beginning of the game. The pacing is a little bit off. It's kind of slow in the beginning. But once you get to Core City, the world starts opening up. The story starts opening up. You see more of the factions and things get really interesting. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying the story's terrible because I really like the story in this game. I think the characters are great. The factions are great, like I said before. But the pacing in the beginning is a little bit off. The best thing about Underrail, one of the best things about Underrail is the writing. The writing is fucking great. Let me tell you why. Everything's really well written, but the one thing that I really appreciate is that the developer took the extra time to really make the characters believable, to really engross you in the world, to make you feel like you're there. Let me tell you why. When you're looking at the dialogue in Underrail, you have to read it because there is no voice acting, and I think that's a good thing. The game doesn't need voice acting because the dialogue is really well written. You'll see green text that pops up sometimes before you start the actual conversation. When you see green text, it tells you what that character is doing or it describes that character. And it's that extra level of detail that really helps Underrail. We get to know more about the characters and their personalities because the developer took the extra time to add this into the dialogue. And it really makes a difference compared to if there was no green text. I know it may not mean a lot to you, but it means a lot to me. If you're not going to use voice acting, then you have to take that extra time that you would put into the voice acting and put extra stuff into the dialogue to get us more immersed in the game, to try to get us more engrossed into the game. And that's what the developer did with Underrail. It's this extra part of the dialogue that really helps the characters. Before I move on to gameplay, there's one more thing I want to talk about. When an RPG has skills like intimidation and persuasion, the game should make them matter. There should be situations in the game where it pays off to invest in those skills. Luckily, Underrail has those situations where it pays off to be a charismatic character or a character that intimidates people. The game makes the skills matter. It gives you a reason to invest in those skills, and it's refreshing. Now, overall, I really enjoyed the story in Underrail. The pacing in the beginning is slow and it takes a little bit for the story to get interesting, but after that, once the story starts going, I was hooked. I love the lore, I love the characters, I love the way everything looks. I really enjoyed the story. Let's talk about gameplay. Underrail is a role-playing game, so of course there are stats, skills, and feats that you can invest into. You have freedom in this game. There are different ways to handle the situations in this game. Like I said before with the dialogue, persuade and intimidation, it all plays a factor. There are different types of dialogue options, and it does make a difference in this game. It's the basics of an RPG, giving you the freedom to make the type of character that you want and to handle the situations in a way that you should want your character to handle them. It doesn't give you this linear path that you have to follow at all times, and that's what I love about Underrail, and that's what I enjoy about role-playing games. I'll give you an example. There was this one time where I had to go into this area. Unfortunately, there was a lot of bots, and I couldn't take them all on because they would kick my ass. This was in the beginning of the game. So there was three options. I can go in there and be aggressive and try to take all the bots out. I can go in there and try to be stealthy and get around them without getting caught. Or there was another option, and let me tell you about that. I really enjoyed that because, number one, I wasn't strong enough to take them on, and number two, I don't give a fuck about stealth. So luckily for me, I was good at lockpicking, and I could use this tool to go inside the vents and maneuver around the area without getting caught, so I could advance and go to the area where I was supposed to go. That's what I like about Underrail, and that's what I enjoy about role-playing games in general. Freedom, and Underrail gives you that freedom. If you want to be a gunslinger, be a gunslinger. If you want to be a Psy user, be a Psy user and use all of its abilities like shooting fireballs at people, freezing them, making them fear you and they run away from you for a couple turns. Things like that. There's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of character development in this game. There's a lot of depth to it. You can craft in this game. You can find blueprints all around the world and find different items to craft. And it's really fun and it's really deep because there's a lot of stuff you can do with the crafting system in this game. Combat in Underrail is turn-based. For those that are familiar with role-playing games, this should be easy to understand. But for those that don't know, whenever you get into a fight, you have a certain amount of points that you can use each turn. For example, one turn, you could shoot your gun a couple times. Then when you run out of points, you have to end a turn. Your enemy gets a turn, they do what they gotta do, and then they end their turn, and so on. It goes back and forth like that. It's not hard to understand. Doesn't mean the game's easy because this game is difficult, but to understand the basics, it's not that hard. There is a pretty good tutorial in the beginning of the game, and it's pretty long, so if you pay attention to it, you should have no problems learning the basics in this game. There is a learning curve with learning some of the other stuff in this game with the crafting system, the fact that there's different currencies and things like that. But what I'm saying is it's not impossible to understand this game. You just have to pay attention and put some time into it. Now, when I play role-playing games, especially CRPGs, I want to feel like I'm progressing through the game. And that's what Underrail does. That's the best thing about Underrail's gameplay, in my opinion. You actually feel like you're making progress through the game. Each level counts. When you level up your character, you actually see your character get better and better, and it makes a difference. When I first played this game, my character was very weak in the beginning. I felt like everything was overpowering me, and it almost felt impossible at certain points because I was just getting my ass kicked. Then, slowly but surely, my character got better and better. Every time I leveled up, I saw the difference in my character. Each skill that I invested in, every time I put skill points into that, it made a difference. Why am I talking about all this? Well, it's a part of Underrail's gameplay, of course, but there's more to it. I feel that a lot of role-playing games, especially recent ones, are too easy. Either the game starts off easy and it just stays that way throughout the whole game, or all you have to do is level up a couple times, put a couple hours into the game, and the game loses its difficulty and you're just dominating everything. And I really don't enjoy that, especially when it comes to role-playing games. For me, what I enjoy is a role-playing game with a learning curve and a difficulty that stays persistent throughout the whole game. Underrail does that 10, 20, 30, 40 hours into the game, and some enemies were still giving me a challenge. I was still getting my ass kicked at certain parts, and I really enjoyed that. Underrail keeps you on your toes. Underrail keeps you planning ahead. Make sure you have all the items you need. Make sure you save multiple times because it does come in handy. You can go around a corner and run into an ambush and game over. You have to prepare. This is one of those games where I actually found myself planning ahead, and I don't do that in a lot of games. It kind of has that old school CRPG element to it. It reminds me of the original Fallout games because in the original Fallout games, when I first played them, I had to plan ahead and I had to make sure that what I was doing. I had to use my points wisely. Attack and move, attack and move. And in Underrail, there were a lot of situations where I had to plan ahead. There were a couple of fights where I had to put my character right near the exit. Just in case my character started dying and things were looking hopeless, I could leave the area, heal up, come back, and slowly take down the enemy. Repeat. Go out the area, come back in, and take down the enemy. Because I had to. It was out of desperation. There was one time where I was fighting a bunch of acid dogs and mutants, and I was getting my ass kicked. Luckily, I went inside a small building and I closed the door, and that saved my life because I was so desperate for a way to get out of the situation alive and not die that I just closed the door. And luckily for me that worked because only the mutant can open the door, the dogs couldn't, so it saved me a couple of turns and I could heal up, and luckily I won the fight. Underrail had me in those situations where I had to think ahead, think on my toes, and I like role-playing games with a good learning curve, a good challenge, and a game that doesn't hold your hand. And Underrail definitely doesn't hold your hand. It has a learning curve, and there's a good amount of challenge in the game. So, I really enjoyed this game. Like I said before, I felt like this game was developed for people like me with my taste in role-playing games, and it's really enjoyable. I had a lot of fun. Before I move on to sound and atmosphere, there's one more thing I want to talk about when it comes to Underrail's gameplay. The oddity mode. What is that? Well, first let me talk about oddities. Oddities are items scattered throughout the world of Underrail. You find them in lockers, barrels, things like that. When you collect these items, you get an experience boost. For example, you can collect an item and you can use it up to 3 times to get experience points. After that, it becomes useless. Well, when you click new game, there are 2 modes where you can choose from. One is normal mode. We should all be familiar with that. You get experience points through collecting oddities, killing enemies, and finishing quests. Well, if you play in oddity mode, it gives you more of a challenge because you can only get experience points through finishing quests and collecting oddities. That's it. It encourages you to explore the world. It encourages you to check every locker, check every barrel, explore every area multiple times if you have to, just to find these oddities, because that and finishing quests are the only way you're ever going to level up in oddity mode. I think it's creative. I think more developers need to do stuff like this. Add these different modes so it can give players more of a challenge for those that want it. It's optional. It's fun because I have one character in normal mode and one character that I played through in oddity mode, and it's definitely more of a challenge and it's fun. So, as you can tell, I really enjoyed the gameplay in Underrail. Now, let's talk about sound and atmosphere. Underrail did not have a AAA budget, and that's fine because Underrail shows that you don't need millions of dollars just to produce a good game. All you need is a developer that's passionate, and with the right set of skills, they will produce a great game. And it shows in Underrail because Underrail has a great soundtrack. It has fantastic atmosphere, some of the best that I've seen in years, especially for role-playing games. If you are a fan of RPGs, especially CRPGs, you have to check this out. I didn't think that the soundtrack in this game was going to be any good, I'm not going to lie, but once I heard the City Station theme, and that song got stuck in my head, I started to pay attention to the soundtrack, and it's really ambient and it fits the world very well. As far as atmosphere, Underrail gives you that feeling of being claustrophobic. You're in the United Stations, you're underground, and it kind of reminds me of Fallout, the original Fallout games, but it does enough to set itself apart from any other role-playing game. I mean, when you look at the art design, when you look at the style, especially when you go to places like Core City, Junkyard, The Foundry, I think Underrail did a great job when it comes to sound and atmosphere. I got that feeling of being claustrophobic, being crowded. Everything's dark and I can't see ahead of me. I have to watch where I'm going, checking every corner. I have to survive. I'm out here by myself. Isolation. And that's what I think Underrail was going for, to make you feel like you're isolated, that you're the only one out there and you have to watch out for yourself. And in my opinion, you really start seeing the art direction when you go to Core City. When you invest in the game a little bit and things start to open up, you can go to places like Rail Crossing, you go to the Foundry later on. When you go to places like that, especially Junkyard, things like that, it really shows the art direction of the game. So it did a great job for me. I was very immersed in this world and I don't know what to say. I think Underrail is a great game. Okay, I've said a lot of good things about Underrail, but there are some issues that I had with the game. The story. I think the pacing of the story in the beginning of the game is pretty slow. It takes a little bit for the story to start getting interesting. In my opinion, the story really starts picking up when you get to Core City. It's a minor issue, but I thought the pacing could have been better in the beginning. Bugs. There are bugs in the game, but the biggest issue I had with that is that the game kept on crashing on me. It crashed several times, so that's an issue. The game is being worked on and there are coming out updates, but that's still an issue. Those are the issues that I had with Underrail. Is it a perfect game? No. Is it a great game? Fuck yeah. Do I recommend it? Yes. If you're into role-playing games or CRPGs, especially if you're into CRPGs, you have to check this game out. Stig, you did a great job with this game, and I recommend it. I had a ton of fun with it, and I'm still going to be playing it, waiting for those updates, trying different characters, whatever. I'm going to be playing this game for a long time. Thank you for watching another episode of Retrospective Gaming. If you want to leave a comment, let me know what you think of this game or whatever. You can find me on Twitter. You know where to find me. Have a great day.